Alana Jaylo. How's it going?
Good.
You want to know what makes you cuter than me?
Yes.
I think your skin tone is cuter than me. I think your voice is cuter than me. The fact that you have a vagina naturally.
Okay. We don't need to talk about that part.
I just think that you're cuter than me. What do you think why do you think I'm cuter than you?
Let's see, you're tall. I think you have a really nice shaped face.
Okay.
And I like what hair you've got.
While it's lasting, you like it.
And you're just funny, and you're witty and quite charming, I have to say.
Comes from, years of practice and failing and finally succeeding. And that's how I was able to master someone like you.
You're like the, shall I compare you to like a Zach Morris almost, except you're nicer?
I do not know who that is.
From Saved by the Bell.
Oh, from Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
I guess you could compare me to him, except nicer, cuter, less respected. I mastered my own domain.
Well, because, Zach Morris, always was a fast talker and tried to get himself out of, anything.
Okay.
But he was, he would step on people's toes just to get whatever he wanted.
See, I don't remember any of them really being bullies. I remember occasionally they would be upset, but I don't remember them, slamming anybody into the locker.
No. I don't think so, too. I mean, it was a pretty, family-friendly show.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think so. I did hear that there may have been a lot more going on behind the scenes. Like some of them were into alcohol and drugs, and maybe not drugs, but alcohol.
Well, that guy Dustin, the guy who played Screech, he wrote a book, right?
I don't know about. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Dustin Diamond. Yeah,
Dustin Diamond. He wrote a book about it about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I never read the book. I just heard about the book. That supposedly he implied that there was some craziness on the set.
Yeah, but it's interesting. When you see him now, he didn't seem like a nice guy as an adult.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't seem like a nice guy, and I've seen him on shows with celebrities, and a lot of people had a hard time getting along with him for whatever reason.
But he was also a child star, and I heard that he didn't have the best relationship with his dad. Not to excuse his behavior.
No.
But all that stuff plays a part into how you're going to act as an adult.
Yeah.
And plus, how would you feel if everywhere you went, somebody would say, "Hey, Screech," right?
And
you're the butt of all these jokes for years and years and years.
Yeah, but still, I mean, some people are good at taking that, like, oh yeah, I welcome that because that's what made me famous, and I like when people do that.
Like Ron Howard.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was Opie and Richie.
Yep.
But,
two clean-cut, all-American type characters.
Right, and Ron went on to do great things in directing.
Yep.
So, he made a name for himself, even though he was a child star, and people take him seriously now.
I've heard, and how much of this is true and how much of this is made up, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I heard that for a super successful celebrity who is also a child star, that he's pretty normal.
Right. Because a lot of, and I think there are some child stars that fortunately don't get, they don't have a lot of things going on after their claim to fame.
Yep.
And so they don't report on all the bad stuff that's happening. There's the only ones that do that. The only ones that have stuff happen to them are the ones that actually break the law and they're.
What do you mean the only ones that have stuff happen to them?
No, they're really open about that. I'm not open about that, but it's out in the open.
Oh, you mean the ones that we hear about are the reports from people who break the law versus just staying in their own lane.
Or they get into a lot of drugs and they have to go to rehab and stuff like that, right? Their lives are for everybody to see. Like Lindsay Lohan, for example.
Yeah.
She was a child star on The Parent Trap.
Also in Mean Girls.
I love that
movie.
But after that, she just went downhill. It just seems like.
Supposedly she's making a comeback now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if she's going to be successful at it. And you want everybody to be successful.
Yeah, you do. The same thing happened with Macaulay Culkin. He was gone. You didn't hear a lot about him for a while, and he was doing plays in London. I remember Barbara Walters' interview with him for 2020.
Was that but when he was still a kid, or
this is when he was at least in his early 20s. I think he was 20 years old.
Oh, I never saw that.
And he talked about his relationship with his stage father, and it was just awful. And you know, he got out of that pretty quickly, you know, and he was saying that his father tried to break his spirit, and he decided he didn't want that. And
I know he was on Joe Rogan about a year ago, and he talked about how when he hosted Saturday Night Live, most of the people there use cue cards because it is live. You don't want to screw up, and you don't have a lot of prep time. And he said that Macaulay Culkin was not allowed to use any of the cue cards, and because of that, no one else in the crew was allowed to use cue cards either. So everybody was pissed off at them during the week.
At his father.
At his father.
Yeah, not. I mean, that wasn't his fault. That was his father's fault.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he meant to say. That everybody was pissed off at his father.
Right.
You know, during that week, which I could kind of see. I'd be upset too.
I would. Yeah. I mean, it's like why does everybody have to use cue cards and this kid doesn't have to use cue cards or? Well,
no. Everybody did use.
Everybody did,
but they couldn't use cue cards
but they couldn't use it that week. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, why do they have to make an exception for his son, I guess? I don't know.
From what I know, his dad seems like a douchebag, right? And he hasn't talked to him in over 20 years, I think. Right.
And from what I understand, rightfully so, because a lot of people did not get along with his father. Or the people that actually got in contact with his father didn't get along with him.
What people getting along?
I mean, the people that were working with Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure that his father made it a lot difficult for people to do that.
I remember back in the day watching Hard Copy, and there were stories, and obviously that was a complete tabloidish show, but there were stories about his father back in the 90s, about how crazy he was. This was around the time that Macaulay Culkin was doing The Good Son, which is a movie that I actually liked as a kid.
I thought it was creepy.
I thought it was good for what it was. It's not like Shakespeare or anything.
Right, it's not like it was a fun movie. Shakespeare in Love. Right?
No, it was a fun movie though. It was a fun kids movie.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a kids movie. It was definitely creepy.
It was a movie with kids.
Well, it doesn't matter. It was creepy.
It was
especially, and I have to say, Macaulay Culkin. Even though I thought it was creepy, he was very, very good.
No, he was great.
He was very good. He was very evil. He was cute, but he was evil. You know.
Yeah.
Ugh. Wow. And you know, Elijah Wood played his cousin, and they were good together. I mean, they really did very well in the movie.
It didn't make any money, and I don't think critics liked it at all. But if you say it did well, I'll take your word.
I think it was I think there used to be a movie called The Bad Seed, which I didn't see.
Okay.
But I think they made it along the lines of that movie. I heard about that.
So it was like a prequel to it, or it was...
No, it was like I guess like maybe a replica of the other one.
Okay, gotcha.
Or like a version of the other one. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything about The Bad Seed, but I heard about it.
Well, I like The Good Son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Even though he was a bad seed.
It was creepy.
It was creepy. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Anyway.
So, Alana.
Yes.
You've been doing some reading.
Yes, I have.
First, tell me about Beetle the Bard.
Tales of Beetle the Bard. Oh, you got to read it. It's a fun read.
Okay.
Because J.K. Rowling mentions the tales of Beetle the Bard, which are these wizard's fairy tales. She wrote another book about it, and
she also wanted more money.
Well, she may have, but she wrote 5 tales. One of them is a very grisly tale that I won't tell you about, but I will say that the title of that tale is "The Hairy Heart."
Okay.
A lot of them are really nice tales. And the funny thing I thought was really clever was that after each tale, Professor Dumbledore wrote the commentaries.
Nice.
Albus Dumbledore wrote the commentaries, and there's some funny stuff in there. It is, which I can't remember right now, but there is, and you have to read it. It's really fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Give
me an example of maybe not the dark story, but one of the stories in the book.
There was one story called The Fountain of Fortune, The Fountain of Fair Fortune. And it's about this fountain where people would go to and bathe, and they would get a lot of fortune in their life. whether they would look younger or, they would get to, they would get a lot of fortune in their life. And so these 3 witches and this knight go, and I'm not going to tell you the whole tale because you have to read it.
Sure.
They are on a journey to the fountain, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to give everything away. You have to read the whole entire book.
I thought it was strange that when the book came out, you hardly ever heard anybody talking about it.
Right.
Despite the fact that it was not only part of the Harry Potter series, but J.K. Rowling herself wrote it. Mm-hmm. Like, did you think it was going to get more press than it did?
I was surprised that nobody even mentioned it because it was like a spin-off of the Harry Potter series because of what she mentioned in the book. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you're right about that. I was surprised that it wasn't mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Now you've also been reading The Witness in Red.
The Witness Wore Red.
The Witness Wore Red.
Yeah. About Rebecca Musser's life as a polygamous daughter and later a sister wife in the FLDS church.
What does the S stand for?
Fundamentalist. Okay. Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
What do you think of it so far?
Oh, it's really good. It's really compelling. It's not boring at all. So far, where I've gotten to is she meets Ben Musser, who is a member of the Jeffs family, Warren Jeffs and Rulon Jeffs to be exact. Rulon Jeffs was the prophet around the time that she was younger, and Warren Jeffs becomes the next prophet after Rulon dies because that's his father. And she meets Ben Musser, who is the man that she marries, and I didn't hear any more details other than the fact that they end up kissing each other. Somebody catches them, and now she is possibly going to be forced to be married to marry Warren Jeffs because all of her sister wives are leaving and marrying Warren, including her sister Christine.
But you don't know for sure that that's going to happen.
What?
That she's going to be forced to marry Warren Jeffs.
No, because she escapes. She escapes and jumps off of the jumps across the fence. Jumps off of the fence. Yeah. So I'm in the part where she just escaped.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about polygamy as a whole? Do you think it ever works out? Because I know you watch reality shows.
Well, I don't watch that many reality shows, but what I've seen of polygamous shows that I've episodes of a polygamous show that I did watch, I don't know how it can work out. I really don't. Because in the book, Rebecca paints a realistic picture of jealousy and envy.
Well,
and
her stepmother's crazy.
Her stepmother's crazy. The other mother
her stepfather.
Is crazy. Her father is crazy.
Well, her stepfather. I'm sorry, her brother, half brother.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into that.
We don't need to go into that.
But it seems like he has some issues to me.
Yes. And
it's my opinion that they're crazy. I don't know these people.
But her stepmother had some issues with the other sister wife.
That's what it seemed like from the book.
And so now she's making her kids pay for it, for all that.
That's certainly the impression I got from reading it.
Right. I don't know how it can work out, honestly, and I don't know any polygamists, but I just don't know how it can work out. When you've got one man, you've got more than one wife, and they have children if they have children. And it's like, they make it sound like it's a big family, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a huge family.
One big, gigantic family that loves each other so much, but you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. You don't know how everything is. It probably isn't all that it's cracked up to be. No,
it's like the idea, it's like vegans who always have to talk about how great veganism is.
I know.
And their life is falling to shit. It's sort of like that's the dietary version of the polygamist to me.
Yeah. Well, maybe so, yes.
Yeah, it's like, you gotta try this out, it's amazing.
Really?
And then you talk to them and their life is horrible. No one wants to talk talk with them because all they ever talk about is how great it is being a vegan, and the polygamy is sort of the vegan version of marriage.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. It's like it doesn't seem like there's any substance.
Yeah.
It's like a man dividing his time between women, from woman to woman to woman, having to keep track of how many kids he's got.
Well, you can't go deep with any one person.
Yeah, you
can't. You can just really go kind of surface level with people.
Exactly. If you're going from one woman to the next woman, from room to room to room, Rulon Jeffs had more than... he had more than 19 wives by the time Rebecca came. She was the 19th wife, and then there was 2 more that came, and I'm like, wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the 2 other wives come about a week after she got married? Yeah. Yeah,
you're right. Not that long afterwards.
Makes you wonder about the trust level between the other wives, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much infighting is there with the wives? It seems like a lot from that book.
Well, she said that she got along with a few of them, the older ones especially, because they were put out to pasture.
Mm-hmm.
The younger they are, the more virile they are, the more good-looking they are, and they're going to have, they're going to be able to raise up seed, and so, and they're more fertile. So I'm like, she got along with the 3 or 4 elder wives. And she got along with Paula and a few of them. She wasn't always. She may have been upset with like Naomi and.
Yeah, we don't need to go into.
We don't have to go into that, but to me, it seemed like she got along with some of them.
Yeah, but like let's say you're married to somebody and there's 20 other wives involved,
right?
And you get along with 7 of them,
right?
That still leaves 12 or 13 that dislike you or could possibly hate you, have something against you.
Right.
And we're assuming she also left, right? So assuming that he lived and she stayed, would the relationship she had with the women who got along with her, would they have stayed strong? Would they have fallen apart? I don't know.
I don't know, because I noticed that there were a lot of women that were coming to her and telling her what was going on.
Yeah.
And some of them... one in particular said you have to grin and bear it, and the other few are like, oh, I really wish this wasn't happening to me. I don't like this. I wish he would just stop it.
Well, imagine there are people who are born into that type of life and they never escape.
Right.
They die in that type of life that they're born into. Like, that's something that freaked me out about slavery when I started thinking about it in high school, really started analyzing it. Mm-hmm. There are people who are born into slavery, separated from their parents, work every single day, and were one day just beaten to death in front of a group of people. Yeah. And that was their entire existence.
Yeah. Well, and, and this... what was I going to say? And I had a thought. It was interesting. You got the wives that just grinned and bared it, like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. And the other ones are just like, and you notice that concept of when the women were told to keep sweet. In other words, they couldn't get angry, they couldn't be frustrated. That had to be really exhausting.
Sometimes I want to tell that to you, but I figured it would be too much for you.
I don't think I could possibly do that all the time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think I've been too sweet for like most of my life.
Unfortunately, that was before I knew you.
Right.
But no, that was meant to be a joke.
I know.
I didn't get a laugh.
No.
However, it's good that she escaped.
Yeah.
And that she's no longer in that life, and that she helped get a lot of people out of that form of reality.
And she realized that it's okay, you can say no. You don't have to.
It might be worth mentioning that even though you haven't finished the book, you've seen interviews with her.
Yes. I have. And she's a brave lady, she really is. She's a brave woman.
What do you plan to read next, Alana?
Jaylo. Yeah.
So I recommended the book. I recommended Joe Gould's Secret, which I think is it's a fun book. So Like, after you read The Stranger Beside Me is when I told you to read A Confederacy of Dunces.
But I read, after that I read Small Sacrifices before I read A Confederacy of Dunces.
No, but you know what I mean, though.
Yes.
It's like I told you to go a little bit light with the next book.
Yes.
So I would still recommend reading Joe Gould's Secret, because it's a true story, but it's a fun story.
Right. You said it's a lot of funny parts in there.
A lot of funny parts in there. I don't know if you're going to do that, but what are some possible books you might read next?
I was thinking about reading, I may not read Under the Banner of Heaven yet, because this book is pretty heavy.
Yeah. Under the Banner of Heaven is a book I've read, and I really enjoyed it, but it is also a heavy book.
Right. But I'd like to read that one just because it's interesting.
Oh, it's a great book.
And then I want to read this book by Rachel Jeffs called Breaking Free. She was also another one that broke away from the FLDS church. So, yeah. It's really interesting reading, biographies like that. People that have escaped a life that they used to be a part of, and they're making a life for themselves away from that.
Yeah.
And they're getting away from something that was really, really harmful and toxic.
I know I keep going back to slavery, but have you read anything by Frederick Douglass?
No.
It's interesting because he talks about what it was like growing up as a slave. And he had a lot more rights than a lot of other slaves. I won't go into his whole story here. Yeah. But, he escaped slavery and then becomes this huge abolitionist.
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating to see his transition in life.
Wow.
Or, another book I like in the same idea of escaping your past is the Malcolm X autobiography. He goes from this guy who has a rough upbringing because I think he had 8 brothers and sisters.
Whoa.
I could have the number wrong, but it's something like that.
Too much for me.
And his dad died when he was young. His mom went crazy. He was sent off to live with different people. He eventually becomes a drug addict and a drug dealer.
Malcolm X?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
He's known as Detroit Red. He goes into prison, reforms himself, comes out, joins the Nation of Islam, is a fundamentalist in the Nation of Islam when he starts work on the book. And by the time the book ends, he is against the Nation of Islam.
Wow.
Yeah.
He is against them?
Yes. Wow. Because they the Nation of Islam, I believe, had him killed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think there was...
If I remember correctly. I don't want to get sued, but I want to say they had him killed.
Well, he wouldn't be able to sue you. He got killed.
Right. I don't want the nation to come after me.
I heard that... I think I saw part of the movie at the end of it where these kids are like, I am Malcolm X.
See, I never saw the movie. I
only saw part of it. I didn't see the whole thing because it's like a 4-hour movie.
I think Spike Lee is overrated. And I
would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree, but I still think you should watch Crooklyn. It's a very enjoyable movie.
Well, he's done movies I liked. I really enjoyed Do the Right Thing.
Right.
I have some issues with He Got Game, but I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Right.
But I think Girl 6 I thought was just trash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't watch it, so...
You're not missing much.
Okay.
I think he has his moments as a filmmaker.
Right.
But I would like to see someone... I hate to say it this way. I would like to see someone with some real talent do the life story of Malcolm X. But it's been 30 years since the movie was made almost.
Wow.
So who knows? Maybe somebody will remake it. And for all I know, the movie was great. Right. But I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't either. I only saw parts of it.
The book is amazing, though. I love the book.
But Crooklyn is a movie to watch. It's kind of fun. There's a sad part in it, but it is a good movie, and the music in the movie is great.
Yeah, sometimes it can go overboard with the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that movie. It's a good movie.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
It's Spike Lee.
It had Alfre Woodard as the mother.
She was on I'll Fly Away, right?
I think so, yeah. You told me that she was, yes.
I believe she was.
Yeah.
I choose to believe she was.
You choose to believe. So you don't really know that
truth.
She was. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then, I don't remember who else was in the movie, but it was a good movie. You might like it. I liked it.
I might have to check it out.
Yeah.
Because I have some of his movies.
All right. Yes.
So, Alana.
Yes.
Have you had any strange dreams recently?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Tell me about some of yours, and then I'll tell you about some of mine.
So, I told you that the other day that the first dream I had was...
Ever?
Not ever.
Okay.
Not ever.
Okay.
Not ever.
Okay. Poking me. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Well, who else am I going to do that to?
I don't know.
I don't either. So the first dream I had that I remember is from... I had a dream about Jim Dale, of all people.
This is Jim Dale.
This is Jim Dale.
No, I can't do it. Go ahead.
This is Jim Dale. I can't do it. My voice is too girly. And he told me, he was in front of me, I think we were standing up or something, and he's like, I want you to draw lines on my face with your fingertips. And I don't know if that was a way for me to know what he looked like or what, but I'm like, this is a weird dream. And then the second weird dream is that I was at one of my relatives' houses. I couldn't tell you who it was because I don't remember. And we were all getting ready to go on some kind of a camping trip. And we were supposed to leave at 10:30 that morning in my dream. And I pack everything up, my clothes and whatever I'm taking with me in my suitcase. And this woman comes to our door, and she is the lady that's going to drive our van there, I guess. A van there that we're going to take. And so we're getting ready.
A van that you bought on Avon?
I don't know. Avon is a skincare company.
They're expanding, babe. Keep going.
I know. Anyway. So I look for my suitcase underneath the bed, and I thought I put everything in there, and I check, and it's empty. And I'm like, Mom, I can't find anything. I can't find my pants. I can't find my socks. I can't find anything. And so I'm trying to tell my sister, what I'm missing. And I think later on I found out that the woman who was in charge of our van took my clothes. That was it. That was a weird dream.
Okay, I have a couple of dreams for you.
Okay.
I think I might have mentioned these before.
Yeah.
But I want some record of it. So my mom died a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which is only important in the fact that she was in one of these dreams. Mm-hmm. But we didn't talk about her dying or anything.
No.
So in this dream, I'm living with my mom, but we're living in this huge apartment. Mm-hmm. And I'm in what seems to be like the living room area. And she walks in the door, and she tells me that she's been reading the Harry Potter series. And she asks me if I've read it. And I say, yeah, my girlfriend's really into it. And she seems stunned that I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then she's in the beginning of the first book. She starts talking about Hagrid, but she mispronounces his name. I don't remember exactly how she mispronounced it, but I remember that she did. Yeah. And we talked for a little while. I say, okay, I'm going to go and call my girlfriend. So I leave the living room, and this is a big apartment. Yeah. This lady who I think is in her early 20s, maybe mid-20s, right, walks out of the bathroom in like this two-piece swimsuit that's black. Yeah. And she, very good figure with blonde hair. She's not doing anything illicit. Yeah. She's just coming out because she forgot her top. Right. And in this dream, she is the caregiver for my little brother, who, even though I have a disability. You don't have any brothers. Right, I don't have any brothers that I know of. Yeah. My dad got around, and who knows what my mom did when she was younger. Yeah. But in this dream, my brother is a lot younger. He has a lot of disabilities. Mm-hmm. And so she's the caregiver who lives with us. Mm-hmm. I start talking to her about my girlfriend. She says that she's going to take my brother out for the day. And she's just like, okay, just be careful around this girl. Mm-hmm. I go in some bedroom. I call you. We talk for a little while. I come out, and my mom's on the couch with some guy who I've never met. And he's like, you don't have a girlfriend. I wake up. That's one dream. Yeah. And I do have a question about that dream. Should I ask that question, or do you want me to tell you the other dream and then ask?
Why don't you tell me the other dream, and then you can go back to the question if you remember it.
I do. And I begin writing my dreams down, too. Yeah. So, in this other dream, I'm going to this event. Mm-hmm. It's to raise awareness for some blindness issue. Yeah. But before the event starts, I'm just hanging out in this downstairs area. Yeah. And people start coming in after me. I'm like the first one there. Mm-hmm. And they come over and they start chopping things up. Right. So I'm starting to realize maybe I should chop something up.
You're in this building.
I'm in a building.
Oh, you're in a building. Okay.
I'm in a building, not this building, another building. Mm-hmm. And so I go over to this desk area to where people are talking, and there's this one guy who sounds like he's a Pacific Islander. I don't know where. Yeah. And I'm listening to him talk, and I just freeze, and I just say, I got to go use the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So I walk out the door, go upstairs. As I'm walking up, I can kind of see downstairs, and you're coming in with somebody. But I'm debating whether or not to go in the bathroom, even though I don't have to go, and just stand there and wait.
Yeah.
And then finally I decided to go downstairs. So I walk downstairs. And for some reason I get lost, and I can't find this place. But I finally figure it out. I go in. Turns out you and this guy, the Pacific Islander, know each other. And he's like, hey, what's up, Auntie A? He's calling you Auntie A.
Yeah.
And you guys are like really getting into it. And I come over and I'm like, hey, babe. And you kind of ignore me. So I grab a cutting board and an onion. I go back to the table I was at. It's now pretty packed. I sit at the end of it. There's a mom to my left and her son to my right. Mm-hmm. And to the right of the son, if I'm to his left, there's a lady who's like in her early 50s.
Yeah.
And so I start cutting, and then I hear the lady to the son's right say, oh, Mom. You know, it's not her mom, but she's like, oh, Mom, I think Farmer, who I think was the kid's name. Yeah. She's like, I think Farmer cut himself again. Yeah. And I looked over at Farmer's cutting area, and his onion is covered with blood.
Oh.
And then I wake up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't know why they were cutting these onions, right?
Well, we were cutting it for some event, but I don't know what the event was.
Oh, yeah.
It's something to do with blindness.
Ooh. Wow.
So, about the first dream.
Yes.
Now, we've kind of had this debate going. I am open to the fact that when you're dreaming, you might be peering into an alternate reality. Mm-hmm. And I've wondered to myself, what happened to that version of Rick? Did that version of Rick stay with the version of Jaylo that he was dating? Did he end up with a caregiver? What happened to that version of Rick? What do you think? Or do you think that version of Rick is in my mind?
I think that version of Rick is only in your dream and will stay in your dream. And I think maybe, I don't know if it's because you have anxiety about what could happen. Not that I would do anything. I'm just saying, like, maybe you have anxiety about, could something happen between me or between you and somebody else while we're together, or not that you would do anything either, but maybe there's some kind of a fear that you have. I don't know.
Well, I'll remind you about the dream I had this morning. Uh-huh. I woke up early and then I fell back asleep. Yeah. And I woke up in my dream, and I woke up at the open mic that we're supposed to go to on Friday. Mm-hmm. And in the dream, we're already halfway through the open mic. Somebody else is on stage. I don't see you. I don't hear from you. I've never called. I look over, and there's this older guy sitting next to me. You're not nowhere to be found. Mm. Open mic ends. I leave the room. I call your phone, and somebody else answers it who I don't recognize.
Wow. And
I just had this feeling that I upset you.
Maybe you're afraid that you would upset me or something, like really, really badly. I don't know.
Well, maybe I'm afraid that I wasn't going to tickle you enough today and you'd be upset with me.
No, I would be perfectly fine if you didn't.
Oh,
because you know if you did, I'd tickle you back. Remember that.
I think Jesus preached forgiveness, babe, and you are a Christian, so.
That is the wrong context. Don't use God to explain it away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say I believed it. I just said
I'm not falling for that one.
Okay. Well, Alana Jaylo, is there anything else you want to say?
Dinner was yummy. We made pizza again, and it was delicious.
Yeah, we gotta start doing more stuff. I get caught up with the classics, but I really want to do different things with you.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had pizza and ice cream again, and ice cream is great, but there's so many other desserts we can have. There's so many other...
Black Forest cake.
Yeah.
Another chocolate lava cake, or, something fun like that.
Well, we could even do frozen yogurt. Yeah. Pineapple frozen yogurt, which I've done before. And that's really, really delicious. Mm. We got to do chimichangas at some point.
I know.
There's so many things we got to make.
The pumpkin crunch cake,
yeah.
Which... I have to resend that to you, I think.
Yeah, because I'd love to.
Either that or you could probably find it on allrecipes.com.
The only reason I have some trepidation about looking for it there is allrecipes.com will oftentimes have multiple versions of a recipe.
Right.
And I want to make sure that I'm getting the one that you said your sister said was really good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, when I have some time, I'm going to look again and see... because it's still there. Look again and see her message and look to see which one sounds like hers.
Yeah.
But it is really delicious.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Alana Jaylo.
All right. Until next time.
Till next time.